Hello there, thank you for choosing Look North. Our top story for Thursday night, a problem many people suffer but are too embarrassed to talk about. Incontinence is painful, not just physically, but mentally as well. And now there's a campaign to highlight the stigma. It's a condition that causes involuntary bowel or bladder movements, and it affects people of all ages. It's more common than you might think. In the UK alone, it's thought around 14 million people suffer from continence problems. And that means 1 in 5 of us struggles with a bowel or bladder issue. But in a recent report from North Yorkshire Health Watch, they found that even though it can have a significant impact on a person's daily life, it's not spoken about enough. Kathy Killick has been hearing from 2 patients from Yorkshire who want to end the stigma surrounding incontinence problems and let people know that help is out there.
Here you are. Do you want to hold Edie? There you go.
Esther Watson was just 17 when she started to become ill. Among her symptoms, serious bladder problems. She was at university when countless urinary tract infections led to sepsis, and eventually she had to have her bladder removed and a stoma fitted.
It definitely saved my life. I know that if I hadn't have got my stoma, I would have either been killed off by another round of sepsis or an infection, or, a bit blunt, but I probably would have tried to hurt myself. Because I was so low mentally.
A stoma is a surgically created opening in the abdomen that allows urine or faeces to be collected in a bag worn outside the body. Esther's so thankful for hers, she buys colourful bags to go over it and wears it not with shame, but with pride.
It just needs to be more normalised because it is just poo and wee. Everyone does it. It's nothing scary or anything.
People should definitely be more open. We weren't. If they do have a problem or notice any changes, they should seek help because there is help out there. It can be a simple fix or it can be a life-saving fix, and it can enhance your quality of life.
Jackie Butterworth was so struck by people's silence around bowel and bladder problems, she set up a support group for stoma wearers. Hers has transformed her life. Before surgery, she really suffered.
At its worst in flare-up, I was going to the bathroom at least 50 times a day. Couldn't take I had at the time, I've got a 16-year-old, but he was only 6 at the time. So couldn't take him to school, had to rely on people to come and pick him up or take him to school for me. Couldn't go to the shop, I had to know where every toilet was. The amount of accidents I had, while I was out and about, and I didn't have a life.
The support group Jackie runs is called Second Chance Ostomy. It meets online or monthly in person in Selby, and it focuses on positivity and breaking down the stigma of incontinence. It can, after all, affect anyone, young or old, and is tricky enough to navigate without adding shame or embarrassment to the mix. Kathy Killick, BBC Look North.
2 difficult stories there of people living with incontinence. Well, earlier I spoke to Craig Derrick from Health Watch North Yorkshire. I asked him whether talking more about bladder or bowel issues was actually enough.
More needs to be done. Just from speaking with the public, we've found out that it's a break the taboo. We need to do more than talking. So, for example, we need to ensure that services are more joined up nationally. And we've also realised that as well that it affects more people than just entirely older people. So it affects people of all genders and it affects people of all ages as well.
Unfortunately, because of the subject matter, until you are living with it and it has changed your life, it is likely to be a story that raises an eyebrow, if not an unfortunate smile. As I say, that changes as soon as it becomes your issue to deal with. How would you encourage people watching tonight who think, yeah, that's me, to start that conversation?
Yeah, it's definitely a health condition that does need more to be done. So from speaking with the public, we found out it's not just about raising awareness, but also ensuring that there's more provisions for people and more pads, for example. We found that it's not a one-size-fits-all. So when people have got pads from the NHS, for example, we need to ensure that it's the right item for them.
We often cover stories on Look North about period poverty. Is there a same cost of living implication for people suffering with incontinence, struggling with the cost of pads, for example?
Yes, there's definitely an issue with continence poverty. We've found out that people are either going without products or they're not using the right ones, purely down to the fact that they can't afford to go by their own. So there definitely needs to be improvements in what the NHS provisions are.
And also, we've lived through a period of austerity where councils have perhaps reduced the number of public toilets that are easily accessible. That must also be a problem.
Yeah, it is a problem indeed. We've found that continence isn't only an issue that affects people physically, but also on the mental health as well. So we do need services sort of improve the way they work, collaboratively, and make sure that people are treated with empathy and dignity when they do require some support.
And for anyone watching this evening who thinks, yes, this is my situation, what can they do? Where can they go to get help, or what changes can they make to their lifestyle?
Yeah, I think the first port of call is obviously speak to the local GP or a healthcare professional. Our website as well at healthwatchnorthyorkshire.co.uk has a section under advice and information. So we've got a continence care, what are my options webpage, which lists all the healthcare providers, all the NHS continence services, as well as some really good support organisations that can help people, providing advice and signposting where to go.
Craig Derrick from Health Watch, thank you very much indeed for talking to us on Look North.
Thank you.